Hi, parents. It's Kim. We're going to do our behavioral intervention video today, but it's not going to be long like the other ones. My dad has been watching the behavioral ones, and he said, it's too heavy. It's too heavy. These last four, you got to do something a little lighter this week. So I'm taking his advice and I'm going to do something a little lighter this week. And it's not going to take that long either. So you won't have to sit and listen to technique for like 50 minutes. What I'm going to talk about today is patience. What brought me to that? Well, it was my dad. Some of you know, and some of you don't. My mom is in the middle stages of dementia. And for you, if you're always wondering why I'm wearing the purple bracelet, that is from the Alzheimer's Association. And then I also have one, I don't know if you've ever noticed it, but can you see that? It says dementia sucks. Because it does. Dementia sucks. So patience. That's hard. My dad is having the same problem of being patient with my mom. A lot of her behaviors, I'm not saying that my mom is like a toddler, but some of her behaviors have regressed as that happens, and the fact that she's forgetful. My dad is having a hard time with that, and I don't pretend to know what he's going through because I don't. That's his partner in life. And whenever I ask, do you need help? His answers are always for better, for worse, or in sickness and in health, or this is what I signed up for. What he didn't expect, though, was the patience that he was going to need because my mom's mind gets stuck in a loop. So, for example, there's a wedding of a family friend, and my mom got on the phone with me, and she's like, I don't have an outfit for the wedding. And I said to her, well, when is the wedding? And she said, September. And I was like, well, I bought you an outfit for Christmas. And then she got off that loop because she'd asked my dad a million times. And it was just finally she caught me, who knew that she did have, an appropriate outfit for the wedding. But then she got on a loop of pantyhose. So I talked to her and I ended up ordering her those pantyhose knee socks. But she was still stuck in the loop until they came. So I'm not comparing her to a toddler. I'm not. Well, I am, but I'm not. And she'll just keep asking the same question over and over and over. And she gets confused too. So my dad, I don't know why, but she got it in her head that my dad had said that she has to wear her shirt in the shower, that she can't take it off. And my dad was getting very frustrated, which I can understand. I mean, we're in a pandemic, right? And they're the only two people who are together, and he's her only caregiver to begin with. So he doesn't have that outside support except on the phone. He can call and let me know what's happening. So I had to have a long talk with him about patience. Patience, it's not in our DNA, I feel like. You see people in line and there's a problem with something that somebody's checking out with, and everybody's rolling their eyes, and I should have gone to a different store, and we call it huffy puffy, like and then I just stand there and I wait, and I'm not unhappy. Because it's something that you have to practice. So just like the kids and practicing appropriate behavior, we have to practice patience so that it becomes a part of us. So the story with my mom, with wearing her shirt in the shower, I just simply explained to my dad, as many times as she asks you, you have to gently reply and say, you don't have to wear your shirt in the shower. And say it with a tone of voice that's not, you know, you don't have to wear your shirt in the shower. Why would you wear your shirt in the shower? So I'm trying to kind of train him on the voice that I use with the toddlers. Again, not calling my mother a toddler. But dementia, there are behaviors that are like a child. I will say. So his responses to her, and he feels bad about it too. I don't want you to think that my dad is treating her in a mean way, or my dad is the best caregiver I ever could have hoped for my mom. My mom too. My mom says the same thing. She says, even though she gets frustrated with him because he gets frustrated with her, she says, nobody would take care of me like your dad. And I say, I know that. But he's having a hard time with the constant questions. So that made me think of when, kids really, when they get into that 2 and 3 year old age, later 2, 3 mainly, they start asking you, why, and you have to answer a million questions. And at first that really bothered me. Not the kids that I work with. That never bothers me for whatever reason, probably because they're not my children. And I'm very patient. But with my own family, I had to practice patience, especially, like I said, when that 3 years old came around and everything is why. So I had to practice, okay, I'm going to respond with a calm voice, and I'm just going to keep answering all the questions that they have. So my daughter, Maddie, was, my experimental gal. And I did find that if I was patient, she was more likely to act in kind to me and be patient with me, because you can't always understand a 3-year-old or a 2-year-old. While I was on my journey of, learning patience in my home. I've always had it with the kids that I work with because, like I said, they're not my kids. And I have to have it with them working with toddlers because, especially toddlers with behaviors. So that's where I'm kind of coming to in this. How do you be patient, or how are you patient? Sorry, my mom and my sister are English teachers, and so my grammar's terrible and it makes them nuts. But my dad's is too. I get that from him. So how do patients and toddlers work together? They don't, actually. It's not natural. It's, they're relentless, not just with the whys, they're relentless with the tantrums and the any question and doing the repetitive behaviors again and again and again. And you're like, I've given this child 18 timeouts and they're still doing the behavior. And what are you feeling at that point? You're not feeling patience, I can guarantee, because even with the kids I work with, I never let it show. But if it's like a major day where like I'm really dealing with a lot of aggression from them, I don't feel patient, but I show patience. You can practice patience with anything. God, right now, I just passed the Dollar General, and there was a line out the door. Everybody with masks on because, they can only let in a few people at a time. Nobody was fighting. Everybody was just standing there. they seemed like they were talking, but they all had masks on, so I can't be 100% sure. They were all social distancing and such, but they're practicing patience. Like, that is awesome. We all have to do that, especially right now. If you go anywhere, really, you have to practice patience. This I've had to practice patience this pandemic because I'm terrible with technology. And creating this YouTube channel, I was just out of my mind, trying to figure it out. And I had to practice patience with myself because I know that technology is not one of my things, and my boss and best friend is usually the one. I give her my phone and I'm like, help me, and she puts my apps on and she does all of that for me. So I also got a new phone during the pandemic and she wasn't there. So I had to figure out how to put on all my apps. And then in creating this channel, I had to figure out how I could record right on it. And my videos were in like 3 parts because I was uploading them wrong. And then don't even get me started on teletherapy. That was so hard for me to learn, and I still make mistakes with it, but I'm patient with myself. I don't get upset with myself as much as the weeks have gone past because I realize there's only so much I can do. I can just keep learning and make mistakes. With our toddlers, sometimes we lose it because they're toddlers and preschoolers as well. And don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed or embarrassed if you lose it. I have lost it so many times with my own children. So don't beat yourself up like we talked about. Your emotions do matter, but learn from it. Learn. If you're not learning from your mistakes, you're not growing as a person. So take that and say, hey, I have to learn patience with my child during a pandemic because we're all stuck here together. So remember, we're all doing it. We're not doing it together. Wouldn't that be nice if we were doing it together and we could all practice patience together? But we can't. It's an isolated thing. So I just want you to remember, like I've told you a million times, toddlers are just little human beings. When we lose our patience with them and they don't understand, why we have or what they did wrong, it's hard for them, like why I just can't express what I want to my mom or my dad, and they're coming back at me in maybe a harsh tone because I've said it, I tried to say it 100 times and they're not understanding. So please just practice patience. My dad is working on it. I told him the exact same thing that I told you. I said, Dad, you just have to keep saying, you don't have to wear your shirt in the shower, and keep it in that calm tone of voice, which is not natural when someone's, just at you. And toddlers, the same thing. It's like they have nothing to do either, and they're just going to be at you probably. So please just practice your patience. Just practice we've talked about tone of voice before, but, just practice if they ask you a million times, I don't know, say you live in an apartment building and you can't go outside because there's no, area where you can social distance, and they just keep asking, just keep practicing, your tone of voice. Well, we can't go outside because it's not safe, but let's play a game, or, let's get out a toy, or let's snuggle up and watch your favorite show. That's also redirection, by the way, and distraction. But it mainly is patience. So let's watch how we respond to our toddlers. or I have a teenager and a tween, our tweens, our toddlers, and our loved ones. If we, if you have a partner in this life, you're very lucky. And try to be patient. It's hard because we take out everything on the person who is closest to us. There's an old saying, you always hurt the ones you love. It's because they're with you all the time. And if you're in a mood, you might take it out on them. So that's my advice this week is try to practice patience. I know it's not easy, but please try. Ignore that cry, ignore that whine, ignore that tantrum. Let them have it, let them have their emotions, and still be patient. So if you want to learn a lesson of patience, or you need like something to think about or something to light the fire of patience under you, think of someone with dementia and how patient a caregiver has to be, because this will pass, this pandemic, and your child being a toddler, this will pass. But for someone with dementia or Alzheimer's or anything that falls under that umbrella of dementia, it doesn't pass. It just keeps going, and you just have to be more and more patient. So if that spurs you on, go for it. Anything that spurs you on to be patient with those in your life, anybody you see, anybody you encounter along this road, this path, be patient. And that goes along with kindness. So patience and kindness, that's what we really, really need to remember during this time. So I'm going to remember it too, and I'm going to practice it with my own family. And I've made mistakes during this pandemic. Yesterday, my husband said I was just on him, and I didn't realize it. It's just because we're in the house together. And I apologized, and I worked on it all day. And now today I wake up and I'm going to work on it again. And I'm going to work on it with my kids. And I'm going to work on it with my dad, because he's the one that I'm not patient with, because he's not patient with my mom. So, yeah, I'm going to let it all guide me. And I'm going to just work on my patience. So this week, work on your patience. It's very important. Oh, it's 17 minutes. I went 2 minutes too long. So my dad said, keep it short. So I'm keeping it short. But reach out to me if you need some help with patience. Leave me a comment or text me, whatever you want to do. But just remember, my mom with the shirt in the shower, you don't have to wear your shirt in the shower. And say it as many times as you need to. All right? Signing off. Okay, hope this one didn't go too long, Dad. But I miss you all, and I care about you all. And if you need me, you know I'm here.